I am live. This time around, this is a bonus episode. I will be alone, except if suddenly Cole shows up and has free time, but this maybe not going to happen. I already messed up the intro. So, yeah, I decided to make this bonus entry because Cole won't be able to join me and the others Tuesday, and I don't think anybody else outside of me and Cole had time to watch Lucifer and Resident Alien as well. Because, first of all, Resident Alien wasn't in the schedule, and second, Lucifer, well, only Cole and I reviewed the show. So here we are, bonus episode. Again, the focus will be Lucifer season 6, the final season, overall thoughts, and and Resident Alien season 3 episode 1 and 2. I have Cole's note on the side, so even if I will be alone for this stream, we have his thoughts. Thank you a lot, Cole. So I guess I will start by reading out Cole's thought on Lucifer final season and the overall show, because now we are done. So here we are with Lucifer taught on season 6. This season was a good finale for the show. It still wasn't as good as season 1 and 2 were to me, but I'd put it above the rest. I get that feeling. I'm not with you with that, but I can understand why. Season 6 had really great moment and really good stuff in it. So yeah, let's keep going with Cole's comment. It's hard to end a show like this where the characters basically have no end in sight with their lives, but they found a way to do enough of a satisfying one. The one cartoon filler or gimmick episode was a lot better than the ones in season 5. I'm on board with you, I agree. I don't think any of the characters this season were done amazingly as other seasons, but I do think all of the characters were done well, so I will take that as a trade off. I didn't think there was a weak character in the cast this time. I agree with you, Cole. I'm on board with you. Fully agree. Still love Lucifer and Amadil in it. My negative with this season is how it rehashes a lot of the stuff they already covered in season 4 and 5. I get that feeling, man. I didn't really put it in words, but I get that feeling. I agree with you. So yeah, next up would be I don't think any of the oh, that was already done. So we are here now. I wish they did something new or just shortened the season to a better 6 episode like The Walking Dead season 1 with leaving all of that out of it. The pacing at point did lack and some of the throwback I could have done whiteout. It doesn't execute everything as well in the end, but it does so enough. So this is Cole's thought on it. I have more rewind. I have more stuff to add to this, and he also has a top 3 and worst 3 episode. He also ranked the seasons. So now that he shared with us his thoughts, I will share mine. So season 6, I only had 2 big issue with season 6. And this is why season 6 is not my third favorite. It's in the middle, like right in the middle. It's probably my fourth favorite season. Well, not probably. It is my fourth favorite season. Um, so okay, let's start off by saying my first issue with this season would be some of the dialogue and humor didn't land throughout the season. So I really felt like we had like 2 or 3 episodes where the dialogue was breaking me apart. The plot, like about racial stuff, Like, why, guys? I don't give a crap about that. It's so poorly executed. Why do you need to bring this up? I feel like every cop show in the USA need to do this shit where, oh, at some point we will talk about racism in the police force. Guys, I want something else. I don't care about that. It's not entertaining. You feel like you're preached at, and you feel like forced into another of these stories you already have seen and heard of many times around. And again, in a lot of instances throughout the season, the humor didn't feel as genuine or good as other seasons. So, my next issue, a lot of the episodes are really weak, making the season poorly written overall. Now, I may sound really harsh and stuff, but I only had 2 issues. So this means this season still has a quite good score in the end. And now I will share the stuff I liked because I'm not all negative, and I said it's not in my top 3, but it's right in the middle. So my first thing I liked about season 6, unreal character growth into finding a new way to be God and dealing with the universe was entertaining because it felt kind of earned, because the time he spent with the human, he realized they're not all bad. And he realized that his father didn't manage the world the right way because Lucifer was cast down to hell, and because sometimes the angel, they all felt primitive and vile. They hated humans. So the lore is just built above previous seasons on a well-made way, I will add. Now, next up would be Lucifer growth into becoming a healer. So early in the season, I thought his character arc would be him becoming God because that was what it was hinted at. But in the end, not really. In the end, he realized he could do more help. He could help more others. He could heal better others if he went back and changed hell itself. And this was great. And I liked that aspect of that season. It was a good follow up from the past season. And yeah, the next up would be the ending was perfect. I don't see how they could make it better. I still think back and look back at past season, right? I feel like season 4 could have ended the show on the perfect way. But here we got season 5 and 6. And with 6, I feel like we got the second best ending we could. So if anyone wants to renew this show, no, reboot, do something new. Because the show should be over now. So yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect. So next up would be May's growth was amazing. Now she found love and she has a soul and she no longer is that demon she used to be. So that's amazing. Next up would be Chloe growth was amazing. She realized the right place to be is the police precinct, and she can help Lucifer in other ways. She doesn't need to always be around. And in the end, she does help Lucifer because after she dies, she goes see Lucifer, and apparently they have their happily ever after, or whatever you call it. So again, the ending of the show is just perfect. I liked it. Next up would be the daughter growth was well made, and her character arc into accepting and understanding why his father wasn't around, or I should say why her father wasn't around, was beautiful. This was one of the highlights. I feared coming into that season that she would be a really bad villain, but no, she was more like a younger Lucifer. So yeah, I thought that was great growth. I liked the daughter character arc. That was amazing. Next up would be the action was as great as previous season. No fight scene really stood out. That's the thing. Maybe the last big fight sequence where Lucifer and Chloe are just punching through bad guys. That was something. But I feel like other seasons had better action sequence, like season 3, where we got Lucifer punching through all, or even season 3 again, Lucifer having his wings back, and saving Chloe and beating the crap out of everyone. That was another better fight scene and such. Season 5, we got the three sons having a fight. That was another great moment. So this season it adds stand up, like it didn't add these unique fights, it was just good action. Next up would be the music was on point. But again, that's something that was recurring with the entire show so far. Every season had really good music. Um Next up would be time travel was for once well handled because they ended the loop on a brilliant way. I liked how they ended that time travel storyline where nothing changed. That's how you do time travel. It's boring, I know, but it's the best way to make sense. Now, next up would be I did tear up a lot throughout the season. The season also had a lot of great moments in it. Dan growth and story arc, despite being dead, was great. So it's smart how they were able to showcase what if you're just a ghost and only a few of these people can see and know that you exist. You got these really sad moments where Dan is just looking at his daughter and his ex-wife crying because he died. This is wow. Maybe it's not groundbreaking. I don't know. I don't remember any other movies or show doing that kind of same stuff, but I know they exist. But in this show, I liked how Dan Ghost was depicted and how that gimmick was entertaining. I liked it. It's wonderful. Now, next up would be Linda's growth was good. She realized, oh, she's not that bad of a therapist in the end, and she's one of the reasons why Lucifer is healed and now can heal others. That's amazing. Next up would be this season did patch up well. Season 5 biggest flaw. If you have seen last week's stream, I mentioned, oh yeah, apparently now they don't really need a warden anymore in L. They kind of traded for themselves like an easy way out. I will still keep it against season 5 because it's a season 5 thing. But because season 6 kind of adds up more on it, I will forgive it now. But even if I rewatch 5, trust me, I will still have the same issue. But the fact that season 6 kind of fixed something was good. I liked it. Ella's growth was amazing. I liked it. Now she opens up to people again. She knows the truth about Lucifer. And in the end, when Lucifer leaves, he gives a proper goodbye. I liked episode 9 a lot. And I'm not the only one because I've read Cole notes. Now, this is the segue. We are back at Cole's notes. So now we will mention his top 3 bottom three, and season ranking. So Cole's top three is in first place, episode 4, Pin the Tail on the Daddy. I remember liking this episode a lot. So I understand you, Cole. I'm with you, man. Maybe not at the same place, but I understand you. Now, next up would be episode 5 in second place, The Murder of Lucifer Morningstar. I will be honest, I don't quite remember that one. I've seen all of these episodes like really fast in a really small amount of time. So there's only like a few key episodes that I remember vividly, but 5, I'm sorry, I can't remember that one, but I trust their judgment, and that's their top 3. Anyway, what can I say? In third place in his top 3, I'm with him. Again, I fully agree. Episode 9, Goodbye Lucifer. That's actually another episode I really enjoyed as well. Now, his bottom 3 would be episode 1, Nothing Ever Changes Around Here. I get it. So, next up would be episode 6, A Lot Dirtier Than That. And his last and bottom 3 would be My Best Friend's Wedding. And I think I do remember that one. That was when Eve wanted to walk alone down the aisle, and we had the terrible Adam character, or I should say Eve wanted to walk alone down the aisle. Yeah, I get it. I get it. What can I say? I get it. Like your top 3 and worst 3, man. So, when it comes to season ranking, season 2 was for him a 8.5 out of 10. So that was his favorite season, just like me. Season 1 for him was a 8 out of 10. And now in third place, season 6 with a 7.5 out of 10. Now in fourth place, he got season 4 with a 7 out of 10. In fifth place, he has season 5. That's confusing. With a 6.5 out of 10. And lastly, in sixth place, he has season 3 with a 6 out of 10. And I feel you. I did think season 3 biggest flaw was making that many episodes. 26 is a lot. And the love triangle shenanigans, I was able to defend it very well, but it's not everyone's taste, and I can see the disdain and dislike for it. I hate Love Triangle usually, but here I was able to defend it because of what it brought to the characters. But it's not everyone that will try to defend a Love Triangle. But yeah, season 3 was also really weird sometimes. Still think season 5 is worst. Now, when it comes to me, I have more notes. So, top 3 for me, episode 9 with a 10 out of 10, followed by episode 8 with another 10 out of 10, followed by episode 4 with another 10 out of 10. Just like Cole, we share 9 and 4 together. There's only a third one that can change from him to me. And we see another similar thing when it comes to worst 3, because 7 is also one of my worst. But yeah. Now, I got my honorable mention for my top 3. Episode 10 was the perfect ending, but since people cannot aim, the episode did drop in quality for me. Now, next up would be episode 5 was great, but not as good as the 3 others that made the cut to top 3. So I guess I'm with Cole, because Cole has 5 in his top 3. So the sad part, I can't remember that episode. That's the sad part. But I have a side note here, so I guess I'm with you, Cole. So now, my worst 3 are episodes 6, 7, and 2. So let's start off with 6. I'm sure 6 will. Oh, yeah, it reflects very well my issues with this season. Episode 6 was a 7.5 out of 10 for me. My first issue was Ray's subplot didn't feel organic or well handled. May's speech about gender got under my skin. People cannot aim. The racist cop is one dimensional. Yeah, that wasn't good at all. Um, with a 7.5. So for me, that's like average. That's probably one of the lowest score I gave to a Lucifer episode, to be honest. Um, next up would be episode 7. I gave a 8 out of 10 to episode 7. The first issue would be dialogue. Next up would be Adam was just a vehicle to talk about society, making him only a plot device. Next up, humor doesn't land. So again, that does reflect my thoughts on the things that went wrong with season 6 of Lucifer. Now, next up would be episode 2. And this one is a 9.7 out of 10. My only issue being plot convenience, finding the box underneath the bed. Oh yeah, that was the box with the alcohol in it because the guy stopped drinking, whatever. That new cop guy was cool. It was endearing. It was generic, but it was endearing. So I forgive him being generic because it was endearing. Anyhow, we are about to close on Lucifer season 6 and talk. Cool. Great out of 10 for season 6 would be 7.5 out of 10. I kind of already spelled it. My own grade 9.5. I know it sounds quite high, but it is because I only got 2 issues. And if I remember correctly, I gave a 9 to season 3. I still believe season 3 was weaker than this. So because of that, to remain consistent, I give this season a 9.5 here. So my ranking of the season. My favorite is season 2 with a 10. Followed by season 1, another 10. Followed by season 4, 9.7. Followed by season 6 with a 9.5. Followed by season 3 with 9 out of 10. And lastly, my least favorite season was 5. And this is hilarious because I can't remember what exactly I gave, but I know that was the worst for me. Either that was like a 7.5 or 8, something like that. Now the show is over, it's done. What do I think about it? I will rewatch. I will do videos about it. I liked it. That show was amazing. It deconstructs parenting, it deconstructs religion, it criticizes on a very smart way fate. The humor in most of the seasons are amazing. The characters are well written. The story is great. The action is great. After watching all 6 seasons, I can forgive them for not ending with 4. Season 6 feel like a on par ending to season 4. I'm not saying better ending, I don't think so. I think it's on par. Because we had great moment with season 5 and 6. Even if season 5 is the weakest season for me, I liked it. So this ends this discussion about Lucifer. I think as a TV show, this show deserves a solid 9 out of 10. And I really think about it because it's borderline 9.5. The only reason why it doesn't get that 0.5, it's because season 5 happened. It's because season 3 happened. Now, season 5 had a lot of great moments. We talked in length about it this week or last week, whatever. I liked it. The same goes for season 3. I liked every season of the show, but these two seasons are weaker than the rest of the show. So that's why I think 9 cannot go any higher for me. 9 out of 10 is still very good for me. So yeah, this closed the Lucifer talk. Now let's have a Resident Alien Season 3 Episode 1 and 2. Now before I read out Cole's notes, and before I go in depth with my own notes, I gotta say something. I liked Season 1. Season 1, I had a blast. That was a great season. Season 2 was a huge downgrade. I can't remember exactly if I liked it enough or not. I remember some of my issues, and I remember a terrible episode in that season. And I think that season is maybe the reason why I don't think I will cover again Resident Alien, because I don't want to rewatch it. That's how I feel thinking back. Maybe when the show is over, I will give it a second chance and try again to rewatch the entire show and maybe do one video about the show or something. But yeah, that's my experience with this show. And I feel like season 3 didn't fix what went wrong with season 2. It just didn't. The magic is lost. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Have you seen Resident Alien? Now, this was my opening statement. Let's read out Cole's note on the first 2 episodes in a moment. So, he just sent me the notes. Okay, this morning. So, okay. He has notes for both episode and 1. Okay. Resident Alien Season 3, Episode 1 and 2 from Cole. I was worried that it would go downhill more. While I enjoyed Season 1 and enough of Season 2, it is a premise and everything that can feel tiring and overdone fast, which is sort of why I hoped Season 3 would be the final season. However, I think the start of Season 3 has been great so far. The acting is fantastic, again by the cast, by Alan Tudyk. I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name. It's amazing as always. I thought what they did in the first episode was interesting, with trying to discover more about the gray alien and how dumb the others are in comparison. The writing was pretty good. The humor was 50-50 for me. It went for some dumb humor like the other episode, and it was 50 funny, 50 not. When I say 50, it's percent, in case you missed it. I'm realizing the danger he put them in was great. I loved the introduction to the second episode too, with the scene, the case in the past. I like how it was filmed, almost like one of those depictions of old alien and Bigfoot sighting in other movies, and how it comes into play later on. The character's progression in these episodes and everything we learn about is great and wastes no time and has no filler. Overall, this is a very good start of the season. I will keep the score of both episodes for after I shared my thoughts. We will disagree, Cole. So let me grab my notes. Resident Alien. Okay. I will start off with episode 1 and then follow up to episode 2. Episode 1. My first issue was Darcy tried to be funny, but it wasn't. The diarrhea joke didn't land. Sa'ar feels more like wiki page than an actual character. Darcy wasn't funny, being hypocrite. Now I gotta admit, The opening scene was decent. Eri isn't amazing as ever, or I should say, he is as amazing as ever. The exchange between Asta and the Grey, Eri, the monologue, Eri is clearly the stand-up thing. And the friendship between both kids is endearing because of the build-up we had in the past 2 seasons. The date was also entertaining, but again, Eri, the main character, carries the show on his shoulders. He is the only reason to watch. This show went up. Rewind. This show went downhill fast for me. Fast. You had one good season so far. And now season 3, I'm not impressed. I actually think it's a bad season so far. The dialogue is the worst thing about this season. It's bad. It's not funny. Anyhow, that's my thought on the first episode. Now the second episode, telling instead of showing my first issue. Not funny, my second. The mayor girlfriend is one-dimensional since she didn't change in 3 seasons. She must always contradict the mayor. That's her only purpose in the show, and every storyline with them, it's something like that. She's like the opposition. And at some point, either the mayor will be the truth and he will win the argument, or she will be the winner one. At least they balance that out, but it's still really bad if all your character is doing is like have an argument with another one each time they are on screen. It's like, no, I hate this shit. I don't like these two characters. I'm so done with them. In season 1, they were cute, they were entertaining, they had something new. They had interesting stuff for them in season 2. But then they fell in the same kind of trap where it's the same thing with them. She wants something, he wants something. And at the end of the episode, they will agree on something. That's their character. That's the only thing. It's like no creativity whatsoever. It's being lazy. It's pretending to give material to your character. Let's be honest, their storyline is filler. They don't evolve as character. They are the same. Next up would be not funny. Next up would be Mayor and his girlfriend always have the same kind of lazy storyline. That goes back to what I said. Humor did tone clash with the sadness between Harry and Darcy, because they did a joke when we had a very sad and heartfelt moment, and it didn't blend well. Lucifer did that kind of stuff a lot in their show, but it worked. Here, it just didn't work. The tone clashing like that, it's not good. I'm sorry, it's not good. Next up would be not funny again. And I read through my notes, and the daydreaming sequence that Ari ad was great, and the Grey ad was also great. That was one of the highlights of that episode. The action was another highlight. I like the action. Asta is good as usual. She carries the show with Ari. So you see, characters, they have decent material, but the surrounding stuff is weak. The hypnosis was entertaining. The fact that Ari want to go solo was cool. I like that aspect. It feels like Ari, and maybe that's all the world is kind of doomed because he doesn't want to work with others. He sees working with others as a weakness because that's not how he was raised, where he is from. That aspect is actually really good. And I didn't really mention that in my notes because I was just angry at the show because, man, this show went downhill. I don't know what happened. Did they fire everyone that was working in the show in the first season? Or did they promoted all of the ones that were not really talented whatsoever? I don't know. I really don't know. So, when it comes to me, episode 1 was a 6.5 out of 10. which is one of the weakest episodes in the show, because I remember this show, even if season 2 was weaker, it had a lot of better episodes. And 6.5 is like one of the worst ones. I know we had worse in season 2. I believe it's episode 3 or 4. All about, equality pay. That's BS. We all know, like, it's some kind of, like, Twitter BS that someone came up with to be angry at patriarchy, even if it's not really a thing anymore. It's more of a activist thing. But yeah, next up, episode 2 for me is a 5 out of 10. It's a bad episode. I didn't like any of these 2 episodes. It was painful. And it's sad. Now, let's read out Cole's grade. Episode 1 for Cole was a 7 out of 10. For him, it's solid. Episode 2 for him was a 7.5 out of 10. Another solid one. So, the plan today was this. Let's make it quick. Let's make it short. What did you think? So, Lucifer, great show. Resident Alien, no. It fails for me. And with that being said, I think we are good for another one of these. Have a good night, everyone. And the next stream is tonight, a bit later though. We will stream Advanced Wars by Web. I will do some replays, and we will have our usual stream Tuesday with the guys. We will talk about movie.